Brothers and sisters, I'm here tonight because many of you have seen, you have heard, you have read the information that has been shared across social network about the fact that the state of Pennsylvania has brought me up on charges by way of the State Board of Psychology. I have been ordered to stand trial in the state capital of Pennsylvania in Harrisburg on the first Monday of the new year, other than January 1st, and that is January the 8th. I am going. I want to apologize to my brothers and sisters in Tokyo. You had already arranged the events and the venues in Tokyo well ahead of time. You did your job. But because of white supremacy, that got cut short. It was interrupted because I now have to go and stand trial for bogus charges created because members of my own race sought to destroy me by constantly complaining about me to the white authorities. And so to my family in Tokyo, I'm asking that you make your way to Osaka, Japan, and to Nagoya, Japan. I am still coming. I just will not be coming on the day originally planned. But I still will be in Osaka, and I still will be in Nagoya. And yes, I will still be in Shanghai, China. So again, my apologies, Tokyo, and I look to see you soon. Shout out to my entire Black Asia family that's been holding tight with me. For the brothers and sisters in Toronto, Canada, that event will still take place. It is scheduled. I am contracted, and to the best of my ability and to the best of my knowledge, that event will take place in Toronto, Canada in February. All of the events that I have agreed to on the college campuses, I will continue to uphold my agreements. I've already contracted with several HBCUs to do some speaking during Black History Month on those campuses, and I intend to keep that word. Brothers and sisters, I am disappointed. I am ashamed and to some extent humiliated by the fact that for the past 3 years, many of you have sought to destroy my credibility. Many of you have taken every opportunity presented to you to try to destroy the image and the work of Dr. Umar Johnson. Although I am the only, I repeat, I am the only, I will say again, I am the only personality in the Black consciousness circuit with my expertise in child mental health, special education, and school psychology. Despite that, I'm the only one who can give Black parents that type of expertise from within the conscious community. You didn't care enough about our children. You didn't care enough about our children to say hands off of Dr. Umar because he's doing the work that no other speaker in the conscious community can do. Let me say that again. He's doing the work that no other speaker in the conscious community can do. He's filling a void that no other speaker in the conscious community can fill. That doesn't make me more important, because those brothers and sisters also have expertises and interests and competencies that the community can benefit as well. I'm simply stating that when it comes to the school to prison pipeline, I am the foremost expert in that area, not just in Black consciousness, but within Black America. So it does hurt me. It does hurt me for someone who have worked as long as I have, and have given their life as fully and as in-depthly and as selflessly as I have, to be attacked by members of the very same community that I sought to help. Yes, the campaign began right here in my own city, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, with a brother who I used to work with at a African-centered charter school. He was the first to write articles about me not having a doctorate. Obviously a lie. Okay. He was the first to write letters about me stating I was misusing the funds. Obviously a lie. And then another brother, who's not from Philadelphia but was living here at the time, joined in on the charade and joined in on the campaign. And then a sister from Texas joined in, and then other people joined in simply because they had nothing better to do and clearly could not have been working on behalf of African people, because there's no way you can have time to tear down the foremost scholar in this country if you genuinely have something of significance to do for Black people. As you all know, GoFundMe. I got a message from GoFundMe that they intend to take down or remove the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy campaign from their platform if I do not provide them with a statement of funds and with a contact number for the realtor of FDMG. To this second, I have not moved to provide them with the information that they have requested. And the reason I have not moved to provide them with the information that they have requested is because I have already previously provided them with the bank statement and the bank details, and have given them full legal permission to contact the bank without my presence to find out whether or not a single penny to find out whether or not a single penny of the funds donated to me in the cause of building America's first independent black boy academy based strictly off the principles of revolutionary Pan-African nationalism and international economics. I gave them permission to contact the bank to find out if Dr. Umar misappropriated a single penny of any of the funds that you all have so graciously given me from your earnings over the past years. But rather than do that, they continue to harass me. Every time one of you, not white people, but black people, every time one of you complains about me to GoFundMe, they contact me asking for information that they have already received. And given the fact that GoFundMe keeps so much of the money, given the fact that GoFundMe keeps so much of the funds that are donated, of that $402,000 that you see on the platform's website, we've only received about $250, maybe $275,000 of your donations. For the sake of convenience, GoFundMe has kept over $125,000 to $50,000 of that money, just for the sake of convenience, robbing us, and then have the audacity to ask for proof when you've taken already so much money from us, when you've already been provided with that proof. So as far as I'm concerned, they can pretty much suspend the campaign, which will in turn force all of you to send your donations in by check or by money order. Brothers and sisters, I'm not a crook. I am not a thief. My ambitions and my interests are a lot greater than money. What I want to do for our people and what I want to do for our young people goes beyond money. I know many of the hustlers in the conscious community, and I know that many of the hustlers in the black community can't think beyond their next meal, can't think beyond their next shopping spree, can't think beyond their next rent or mortgage payment. But Dr. Umar Johnson is a visionary. I think in-depthly, and I think very far into the future in terms of how I can best make a contribution to impact our people. But it bothers me that the same thing that was done to the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, it bothers me that the same thing that was done to the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, greatest black leader and organizer of the 20th century, 100 years ago, 100 years ago, black men and women went to the government of the United States and begged them to destroy Marcus Garvey, begged them to incarcerate Marcus Garvey, begged them to deport Marcus Garvey. And so here we are 100 years later. And as a race of people, we still have not learned. 100 years later, and the same thing that was done to the king of Pan-Africanism is now being done to the prince of Pan-Africanism. But I want all my supporters to know, and I want all my college student supporters to know, and I want all the elders and the teenagers and the little children who support me, the unnamed millions from Africa to Australia to the United Kingdom to the Caribbean to Central and South America to Canada to the South Pacific to China to Japan, throughout the entire world. I want my supporters to know that I will not abandon my post. I will not abandon my mission. I will not abandon my agenda, because as I have told so many of you for so long, I do the work that I do because I believe that I was born to do it. This isn't coming from a place of narcissism. This isn't coming from a place of arrogance. But I believe within my heart that it is no coincidence that I happen to be related to the greatest black leader of the 19th century, and that I happen to be a disciple of the greatest black leader of the 20th century. I don't believe in coincidences. I don't believe it was a coincidence that my mother brought me into this world on the same day that the Nat Turner War began, that she brought me into this world on the same day that the Haitian Revolution began, that she brought me into this world the same day that the George Jackson prison revolution began, that she brought me into this world on the same day that the Frederick Douglass Fugitive Slave Convention began. I don't believe in no coincidences, so I'm going to stand for it. They can take the bachelor's, they can take the second bachelor's, they can take the first master's, they can take the second master's, they can take the third master's, they can take the doctorate degree, they can take the principal certificate, they can take the school psychology certificate, they can prevent me from getting my license as a psychologist. Whatever it is they want to do, they can go ahead and do it. But I will continue to fight for the rights of our children, and I will continue to fight for the rights of our people. And I want to thank all you brothers and sisters who have stood by my side through thick and thin. You were there in 2015 when a certain female tried to destroy my credibility by lying and saying that I took school money and spent it inappropriately, that she saw me spend money from the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. If that's true, may I die right now. If she saw me spending money from your pocket that you gave me to build a school for our children, may I die right now. And what bothered me then was that so many brothers in the conscious community, some of whom I considered to be associates, some of whom I've helped get paid, they seized upon the opportunity that she presented to try to destroy Dr. Umar Johnson through their platform on their media outlets. Everywhere I turned, there was a conversation about me without me. Everywhere I turned, a conversation about me without me. Up until 2015, I didn't have these problems. But the minute I started raising money to give our children a school that they deserve, all of a sudden, my problems began. In that very same year, that coon from Philadelphia began writing articles about me, jealous because he wished he could have been me. He wanted to be where I am and where I was then. And because his career didn't take off the way that my career did, he resorted to character assassinating. He resorted to passing around lies that I didn't have a doctorate, which all of you have since learned to be true. He resorted to coming up with fanciful schemes and ideas about me stealing school money. He started the fire that so many other thirsty, self-hating Negroes would then join in upon. But it's not about him today. Even as I sit here talking to you right now, another brother in the conscious community, a brother who claims he wants to work with me, a brother who tells people every chance he gets an opportunity that he wants to bury the hatchet with Dr. Umar Johnson. Well, he just did an 1.5-hour video, taking every shot he possibly could, bringing up every misstep, every mishap, and every misattribution made about me over the past year or two. As thirsty as he could possibly be, he could not wait to do a video on me. Why in the hell does a black man need to spend 90 minutes on film talking about another black man? Reminds me of another buffoon up in New York who did a 90-minute movie back in 2015 when that situation happened. But brothers and sisters, it ain't about them, it's about us. It's about our future. Let's talk about the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy. In Chicago, there's 3 schools. One of them I'm confirmed to visit on Monday. Yes, I don't celebrate Christmas, but I respect all of you who do. And I pray to Almighty God, Olodumare, that you are not worshiping a white Jesus on Christmas Day, but that you are worshiping the black revolutionary Messiah born in the caves of Ethiopia. That is my prayer for you all. But I have no problem with your Christianity. Whether Jesus existed or not is irrelevant. The story of Jesus, the example of Jesus, an unapologetically African black man who spoke truth to power, I don't have a problem with that. I simply ask that the Jesus you serve looks like you and not like your oppressor. But on Christmas Day, while you're spending time with your family, as you should, I'll be visiting schools in Chicago. The realtor was gracious enough to let me into this one school that we can afford. And although I'm looking at Detroit and Atlanta very strongly, if things don't check out there, there's a school in Chicago that I can afford right now. But I have to make sure everything else checks out in that school before we grab it. In Detroit, there is a school that we just found out about. It's in pretty good condition. They want a couple $100,000. We have that. I'm waiting for the realtor to get access to the keys so we can get inside and take a look at it. I've begged the realtor, get those keys, brother. I get to Detroit on December 31st. Get those keys so we can get inside that building on December 31st and do the walkthrough. Just like I'm going to get inside that building in Chicago, Christmas Day, and do that walkthrough. Atlanta, Georgia, we have one school identified, but it's going to take a little work to get it up. But I've since found 2 other schools in Atlanta that we can afford as well. So we working. Detroit, we working. Chicago, we working. Atlanta, we working. And if the school does not happen to be in your particular city where you are, just know that a school is coming soon. I am not interested in building one. I will go to Detroit and build one next year. Chicago, build one next year. Back home in Philly, maybe down to Phoenix, maybe over to Oakland, maybe in Little Rock, maybe in Raleigh, maybe in Baltimore, maybe in DC, maybe in Milwaukee, wherever it's necessary. But we must do the work, brothers and sisters. Now, because of this attempt to destroy me, to have the state of Pennsylvania Board of Psychology strip me of my credentials. Many of you have asked me, Dr. Umar Johnson, what can we do? Do you want us to show up? Do you want us to write letters? Brothers and sisters, I'm not giving you no directions. Do what your heart moves you to do. If your heart moves you to show up in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania on Monday, January the 8th, then you show up in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Monday, January the 8th. If your heart moves you to write a letter to the chair of the State Board of Psychology, write it. If your heart moves you to write a letter to the hearing officer who will be overseeing my case at 9 o'clock on January the 8th, then you write that letter. Whatever your heart moves you to do on behalf of Dr. Umar Johnson, then you do it. But I will not give no orders, because this is a time I need you. I've always been there when y'all called on me. I've always been there. At great cost to myself and my family. I've always been there for you guys. Okay, so you do what it is you need to do. If Dr. King is in jail, and I'm nowhere near Dr. King, and please don't mistake my words for even suggesting that I can compare to the king. The prince cannot compare to the king. But if Dr. King is in jail, he shouldn't have to tell you to get him out. If Malcolm X is in trouble, he should not have to make a phone call and ask you to help him. If Marcus Garvey is being marked for deportation back to Jamaica, he should not have to call on his people to save him. His people should love him enough to save him on their own. So do whatever it is in your heart to do. I've been saving black children for 20 years. I've saved thousands, probably tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands. Psychoacademic Holocaust book has saved lives. I have saved lives. My lecture have saved lives. I would stop doing this work the minute I felt I could no longer save a life, black man and black woman. So do whatever it is on your heart to do, brothers and sisters. But I want you to know right now, as I've called on my ancestors, I have renewed my faith. I have renewed my confidence in myself. I'm going forward. I can't stop. I'm too close. So many of you have told me. So many of my, elders, members of my spiritual team have told me that the closer you get to the goal, the more hate you're going to get. The closer you get to the goal, the more they're going to try to shut you down. The closer you get to the goal, the more traps that will be laid out before you. It's a shame that my own people did this to me. There's one sister on YouTube. I'm not going to call her name because I know she's thirsty for attention. She has a whole YouTube page dedicated to teaching people how to destroy Dr. Umar Johnson. And the irony of all these people who claim that they need to hold me accountable, they haven't held the killer of Michael Brown accountable. They haven't held the killer of Trayvon Martin accountable. They haven't held the killers of Tamir Rice or Sandra Bland accountable. They haven't held the killers of Philando Castile or Alton Sterling accountable. You haven't held any of them accountable. You haven't held the Ku Klux Klan accountable for all the black people they've murdered. You haven't held the black churches accountable for all the money they stole. You haven't held national black leaders accountable for all the money they've collected and never accounted for. You never held the Urban League or the NAACP, and I'm not knocking any of them. But how is it you can skate around everybody else, and the only person you can hold accountable for in the black community is Dr. Umar Johnson? That's hypocrisy. That is absolute hypocrisy. To spend time trying to destroy a man instead of doing work on your own. How do you try to destroy a man who's trying to build a school? If you don't like him, keep it moving. But every day I got to deal with homosexuals trolling my page. Every day I got to deal with lesbians and transvestites trolling my page. I got to deal with black men who love white women more than black women trolling my page. I got to deal with coons and crackers and all types of other types of reactionary individuals trolling my page. Do I troll your page? I don't post comments. I've never posted a Facebook comment, hardly ever, unless it's happy birthday. I don't post comments. I don't make videos about me, about other people. I may have made 2-3 videos, and that's only because I was attacked by those persons. I mind my business. I have too much work to do to be worrying about what other people do. Brothers and sisters, you all know I started the organization Team Pan-African, the international movement for the independence and protection of African people. Well, I want you to know that in the new year, we will be coming back strong. In the new year, I will be bringing about a rebirth of Team Pan-African, and all of you who are serious about the work. All of you who are serious about the work, true Pan-Africanists, true Garveyites, you will have an opportunity to help Dr. Umar Johnson organize our people internationally. I promised my brothers and sisters in Africa that I would do an international Pan-African youth conference there. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Whether it's Ghana, whether it's Namibia, whether it's Senegal, whether it's Kenya, whether it's the Republic of South Africa, Zimbabwe, where I was just invited to speak the other day. It will happen. And I'm asking brothers and sisters from America who want to help me make this happen. My brothers and sisters in the United Kingdom. I have a lot of supporters up in the UK. I have not forgotten you. Although I'm going to take a break from speaking in the new year, for my brothers and sisters in the United Kingdom, I owe you a visit. You haven't seen me in 4 years. My London family, you haven't seen me in 4 years. You will see me. I owe London that, because London and the entire UK, Wolverhampton, Bristol, all of those places have been very big, staunch Dr. Umar supporters. You will see me in the new year.